What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope we're all doing absolutely fine. And today, as usual, we're gonna continue with the Discourses by Epictetus, and I will read to you the chapter 20 against followers of Epicurus and of the Academy. So let's get started. Even those who contradict propositions that are true and evident are obliged to make use of them, and indeed one may almost give as the strongest proof that a thing is evident that even he who contradicts it finds himself obliged to make use of it. For instance, if someone should deny that any universal statement is true, plainly he cannot help asserting the contrary. No universal statement is true. Slave, this is not true either, for what else is your assertion is? If a statement is universal, it is false? Again, if one comes forward and says, know that nothing is knowable, but that everything is unprovable, or another says, believe me, and it will be your advantage, or you ought not to believe a man at all. Or again, if another says, learn from me, man, that it is impossible to learn anything. I tell you these, and will teach you, if you will, what difference is there between such persons, and whom shall I say? Those who call themselves academics? Man, give your assent to the statement that no man assents. Believe us that no man believes anyone. So too Epicurus, when he wishes to get rid of the natural fellowship of man with one another, makes use of the very principle which he is getting rid. For what does he say? Man, not be deceived. Be not deceived, be not misled or deluded. There is no natural fellowship of rational beings with one another, believe me. Those who state the contrary deceive you and mislead your reason. What concern, then, is it for viewers? Let us be deceived. Will you come off any the worse of the rest of us? Are all convinced that we have a natural fellowship with one another, and that we are bound by all means to guard it? Nay, your position will be much better and more secure. Man, why do you take thought for our sake? Why do you keep awake for us? Why do you light your lamp? Why do you rise early? Why do you write such big books? Is it to prevent any of us being deluded into thinking that the gods have any care of mankind, or to prevent us from supposing that the nature of the good is anything but pleasure? For if this is so, be off with you and go to sleep. Do as the worm does, for this is the life of which you pronounce yourself worthy: eating, drinking, copulation, evacuation, and snoring. What does it matter to you what opinions others will hold on these matters, or whether they are right or wrong? What have we to do with you? You take interest in sheep because they offer themselves to be shorn and milked, and finally to be slaughtered by us. Would it not be desirable if man could be charmed and bewitched by the Stoics into slumber, and offer themselves to you and those like you to be shorn and milked? These sentiments were proper enough to utter to your fellow Epicureans. Ought you not to conceal them from outsiders, and take special pains to conceive them before all things that we are born with a sociable nature, that self-control is a good thing, that so you may secure everything for yourself? Or do you say we must maintain this fellowship towards some and towards other, and not towards others? Towards whom, then, must we observe it? Towards those who observe it in their turn, or towards those who transgress it, and who transgress it more completely than you, and have laid down these doctrines? What then was What then was it that roused Epicurus from his slumbers and compelled him to write what he wrote? What else but that which is the most powerful of all human things, nature, which rose a man to her will, though he groan and resist? For she says, because you hold these unsociable opinions, write them down and bequeath them to others, and stay up late for them, and by your own act accuse the very principles you maintain. What? We speak of Erastus, pursued by the furious, and rose from his slumbers, but are not the furious and torments that beset Epicurus more exacting. They roused him from his sleep and would not allow him to rest, but compelled him to announce his miseries and as madness, and wine compel the priests of Cybele. So powerful and unconquerable a thing is human nature. How can a wine be moved to act not as a wine but as an olive, or again an olive not as an olive but as a wine? It is impossible, inconceivable. So it is impossible for man utterly to destroy the instincts of man. Even those who have their bodily organs cut off cannot cut off the desires of man. In the same way, Epicurus, though he cut off all the attributes of a man, and a householder, and a citizen, and a friend, could not cut off human desires. No, he could not do it any more than the indolent academics could cast away or blind their senses, though they have made these the chief object of their life. Is not this sheer misfortune? A man has received from nature measures and standards for the discovery of truth, and instead of busying himself to add to them and to work out further results, he does exactly the opposite and tries to remove and destroy any faculty which he possesses for discovering the truth. What say you, philosopher? What is your view of religion and piety? If you will, I'll prove that it is good. Prove it then, that our fellow citizens may take heed and honor the divine, and cease at last from being indifferent as to the highest matters. Again, prove it then, that our fellow citizens may take heed and honor the divine, and cease at the last from being indifferent as to the highest matters. Have you the proofs then? I have, and I am thankful for it, since you find such an interest in these things. Now hear the contrary. The gods do not exist, and if they do, they pay no regard to man, and we have no communion with them, and thus religion and piety, of which the multitude talk, are a lie of pretentious persons and sophists, or it may be of lawgivers, for the fear and deterrence of wrongdoers. Bravo, philosopher! What a service you confer on our citizens! Our young men are already inclining to despise divine things, and you recover them for us. What is the matter? Does not this please you? Now learn how justice is nothing, how self-respect is folly, how father and son are empty words. Bravo, philosopher! Stick to your task. Persuade our young men, that we may have more to agree with you and share your views. These, no doubt, the arguments which have brought well-governed cities to greatness. These are the arguments which made Lacedaemon. These are the convictions which Lycurgus wrote into the Spartans by his laws and training, that slavery is no more shameful than noble, and freedom no more noble than shameful. For these beliefs, no doubt, those who died at Thermopylae died. And for what principles but these did the Athenians give up their city? And yet the man who stayed these theories marry and beget children and share in city life and appoint themselves priests and prophets of what? Of what has no existence. And they question the Pythian prophetess themselves to learn lies, and they interpret oracles to others. Is not this the hate of shameful imposition? Man, what are you doing? You convict yourself of falsehood day by day. Will you not abandon these crude fallacies? When you eat, where do you put your hand? To your mouth or to your eye? When you bathe, into what do you go? When did you ever call the jug a saucer or the ladle a spade? If I were a slave to one of these men, I would torture him, even if I had to stand a flogging from him every day. Put a drop of oil, boy, in the bath. I would get some fish sauce and pour it over his head. What is that? By your fortune, I had an impression were like oil, indistinguishable from it. Give me gruel here. I would fill a dish with one vinegar, sauce, and bring it him. Did I not ask for gruel? Yes, master, this is gruel. Is not this vinegar sauce? How is it more than gruel? Take it and smell. Take it and taste. How can you know if the senses play us false? If I had 3 or 4 fellow slaves who shared my mind, I should give him such a dressing that he would hang himself or change his opinion. Such men trifle with us. They take advantage of all the gifts of nature, while in theory they do away with them. Grateful and self-respecting men, indeed, they eat bread every day, to say nothing else, and yet dare to assert that we know not whether there is a Demeter, or Cori, or Pluto, not to say that they enjoy day and night, and the changes of the year, the stars and sea and land, and the service that men render, yet not one of these things makes them take notice in the least. No, their only aim is to vomit their paltry problem, and having thus exercised their stomach, to go away and have a bath. But they have not given the slightest thought to what they are going to say, what subject they are going to speak about or to whom, and what they are going to get from these arguments, whether any young man or of noble spirit may be influenced by them or have been influenced already, and may lose all the germs of nobility in him, whether we may be given an adulterer opportunity to brazen out his acts, whether one who is embezzling public funds may find some excuse to lay hold of in these theories, whether one who neglects his parents may get from them fresh courage. What then do you hold good or evil, base or noble? Is it this doctrine or that? It is useless to go on disputing with one of these men, or reasoning with him, or trying to alter his opinion. One may have very much more hope of altering the mind of a profligate than of men who are absolutely deaf and blind to their own miseries. Alright guys, so thank you for joining me today on this video. We're gonna continue as usual but tomorrow. Thank you, see you and bye.